Hello, YouTube! So, this weekend, The White Lotus Season 3 reached its conclusion. This is a show I've been following since Season 1, Episode 1. I thought, why not get on here and discuss it? Because I have a lot of thoughts after that finale. I wasn't sure I would have many thoughts on this show for quite a few episodes, but they were saving everything for that finale, because, whew! So just right off the bat, I will say I enjoyed season 3, but it was definitely the weakest of all 3 seasons. There were some aspects of this season that I felt were stronger than the other seasons. Like, just right off the bat, I think Thailand as a location, that's always been a dream destination for me to travel to. I just thought the scenery of this season of The White Lotus was so gorgeous, and I felt it was next level compared to season 2 and season 1, which were also gorgeous, but oh my gosh, Thailand, so pretty. I want to go to this resort. There was one big change about this season of White Lotus compared to the first 2 seasons, and that was the absence of Tanya, played by Jennifer Coolidge. And I think, honestly, that was the biggest contributing factor to why I'd rank this season lower than the other seasons. There's been lots of discussion around, oh, The White Lotus didn't have any plot this season. There wasn't anything going on. I view it more so as there was never really anything going on in a lot of these White Lotus seasons. A lot of it was just observing how these characters act in these foreign environments. But I think the episodes felt more meaningful because cut in between maybe these more stale scenes, we'd get a scene of Jennifer Coolidge doing what Jennifer Coolidge does best, being memorable, making you laugh, and we didn't have that this season. None of the characters could match the same level of comedy and charm and charisma as Tanya. I think Tanya had a great run the first 2 seasons, and her ending was disappointing but iconic. I do think it was a mistake to take Tanya off the board that early into the show's run, though. I think they could have really used her here. I think that is just not a character you kill off so soon. So while Tanya will forever live on as one of the most iconic characters of all time, we missed her this season dearly. And I worry the show will never be able to replace what she brought to the show. Now, to talk about the characters who were actually on this season, I will first touch on Belinda returning from season 1. I was very excited by this news because Belinda was attached to Tanya in season 1, and that was definitely my favorite storyline of that season. Natasha Rothwell is such a talented actress. She's very funny too. She doesn't get her credit for that. So while this season still lacked some of Tanya's energy, bringing Belinda back brought Belinda's energy back, and she brought a little bit of Tanya with her. Like, Tanya was very much a presence on this season thanks to Belinda and another character. But I think Belinda was hands down the best character of this season. We start with her. She's just coming to, they make up some excuse why she came to Thailand. Who cares? Belinda's here. So the first few episodes, Belinda's just having the time of her life. She's enjoying her stay in Thailand. She even meets Pornchai, who is her love interest this season, which was a nice change for Belinda. Things start to get a little shaky for Belinda, though, when she sees Greg, who's going around pretending to be Gary. Belinda knows better, and she does a Google search to see who he is. She finds out that Tanya died. She immediately knows, of course, Greg did it. Like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that much out. Greg is an evil, evil, evil man. So Greg realizes who Belinda is. They confront each other, and Greg tries to pay Belinda to stay silent. He offers her $100,000. her son Zion comes in and he's like, oh, you can get more money than that. She doesn't want to, but he manages to talk her into it. They go back and they get talked into $5 million. Of course, Greg gives in because it's either lose $5 million or go to jail. Before this, with Porn Chai, they were discussing her spa dream that she had in the first season that Tanya was promising her, and it just didn't happen. So Belinda, she never made a promise to Porn Chai about, yeah, we're gonna start the spa together, but the potential was there. So when Belinda gets this money, she's like, okay, I gotta get out of this country away from Greg. She gives Porn Chai the same talk that Tanya gave her in season 1, talking about how circumstances have changed. It's devastating. Like, oh, you hate to see it. But Belinda takes her money. She gets out of the country without Porn Chai. She's like, oh, maybe. And Belinda essentially becomes Tanya. This was a storyline about how money changes people, and Tanya was a nice person at her core, I think it's safe to say. And so is Belinda, but she got this money and she got greedy. But honestly, I was still on Belinda's side. This whole season, I was just telling myself, if somebody's gonna die, let it be anybody but Belinda. When they had the shooting going on, I was just like, okay, get Belinda out here. Belinda, stay safe. Keep the money, thank you. And Belinda got her $5 million and she's gonna go start her spa. And that's really all I care about, so I'm very sad for Porn Chai. And I wish Belinda got her man in the process, but she got her money, her son is with her, and she's gonna get to live the life she wanted to live. So, happy ending for Belinda. She lived, she's rich, I'm happy. Just, oh, sad. What could have been? Poor Porn Chai. So our other returning character this season was Greg, who now goes by Gary. He just did Tanya very wrong. Screw you, Greg. I'll never forget. And revenge will be delivered to you. Trust and believe. Before the show is over, Greg will be 6 feet under. I mean, there's not much substance to his character besides being a nasty, evil, wicked man. But attached to him is new character Chloe, who's been dating him for like a year. Girl, run. She serves as a bit of like a temptress for the guy characters this season. I think she was fine, but she was attached to a lot of the storylines that I have issues with. So yeah, fine actress, good for her getting a role that is probably putting her on the map, but I don't think this character is anything to write home about either. Things are working out for her now, but girl, good luck to you. That's all I can say about Chloe. I think I want to talk about the staff of this season first. Of course, I have to mention that our hotel manager of this season, such a letdown after the first 2 seasons, both of those two being big standout characters. This guy was just such a loser in every way, shape, and form. It was pathetic. Though him falling into the water when the guns started getting shot in this finale was very funny, but just a waste of space and quite the disappointment. And actually, overall, I would say the staff of this season was the weakest part of the season, which is honestly quite a shift from the first 2 seasons where, I mean, I already said in the first season, I thought Belinda was just such a strong character. And then in the second season, I felt like the staff was very memorable. This time around, the staff really felt like afterthoughts, and I don't think any of them had particularly noteworthy roles. The one who got the most screen time of the staff this season was Guy Talk, and he was a terrible security guard. we kind of just see him struggle with that. Every time they cut to him, I was just pretty much immediately disinterested in the episode. This is a storyline of him not really feeling up to the role, and do we see pressure applied to him throughout the season. And there's a robbery, which was kind of a big source of chaos. Even though it was a pretty boring episode overall, we just had this random robbery storyline. Okay. And we see him like grappling with it and making a lot of dumb mistakes, and then he'd do something smart. It was blah. But then in the last episode, he finally is encouraged to take a kill shot, and his innocence is gone. But whatever. Like, I was bored to tears. If I rewatch this season, I'd probably skip every last one of his scenes. I can't. Like, it was not good. Attached to Guy Talk was Mook, his love interest, played by Lisa from Blackpink. I was very excited to see her coming into this season. Now, even like just this past week, there's been some Blackpink controversy. The kind of, oh, no, I'm not touching that. But while I thought Lisa did a fine job in her scenes as an actress, this was a very nothing role. They clearly just wanted to leech off of the K-pop fan base for this role, and she had nothing to work with here. She was just Guy Talk's love interest. She was the one encouraging him to finally man up, and I guess she won in the end, because as soon as he kills somebody, she's finally interested in him. Okay. It was a useless role, and it was a shame, because I do think she showed some acting chops. The co-owner of the hotel this season was Stritala. She was a former actress, and her role was on the smaller side this season. She wasn't in every episode, but I thought she made the most of all of her appearances. And then in this finale particularly, her man gets shot, and she gets to have some really dramatic moments with that. She seems pretty nice, so it's unfortunate she got such a bad ending. But I thought she was a fun character, and I would have liked to see more of her. There were a few other staff characters, but I'll touch on them in later sections. So moving on to the guest, I think I will start with Rick and Chelsea. These two are a couple. Rick's an older man, Chelsea's a younger girl, and Rick is just very depressed and moody. We see him being very angsty for most of the season. Chelsea is this free-spirited girl who's playing Captain Save-A-Ho, being like, oh, I can fix him. We're just soulmates. And that's her whole thing this season, acting all high and mighty and like she knows all. It's difficult to talk about these two together because I think Rick was not a very good character for most of the season, and I thought a lot of his scenes were a drag to watch. But Chelsea, I thought she was very entertaining and a good character on this season. I give a lot of that credit to Amy Lou Wood, because I think if you put some other actresses in this role, it probably would not have been as good, because yeah, the character's kind of sad. So Rick has brought them to Thailand because he's looking to get revenge for his dead family. Like, okay. Whole season, he's whining about how his father is murdered. He even flies away from the hotel and goes to Bangkok for a few episodes, so he's just totally detached. And, I mean, I didn't like those scenes very much at all. I would have rather stayed at the hotel and watched what was happening there. Whatever. Like, I got the gist of what was happening with Rick, and it's just like, eh. The most interested I ever was in Rick's storyline were his stress management sessions with Amrita, who I thought was a great staff character I would have liked to see more of, and that was such a pretty location where she'd hold her sessions. But I thought she was like really taking Rick's number. Like she read him. So in the finale, he comes to her before everything collapses. And he begs her, like, take me now. And she's like, just wait an hour. He could not wait an hour. Oh, Emery, you could have saved the day. Oh, tragic. So in the finale, Shritala and her husband Jim they come back to the White Lotus Resort, and Rick had just gone and seen them and drama happened. So when they see Rick is still at the hotel, Jim comes up to Rick and starts threatening him, flashes his gun, and is like, you need to leave. And then that's when Rick kind of goes on a spiral. When Rick is like sitting there spiraling, he sees Jim walking by. What does he do? He goes and grabs Jim's gun and shoots Jim. Shritala tells Rick that Jim was actually his father who the whole season he thought was murdered. And I was just like, plot twist. It was so juicy. Oh my gosh. I was very entertained by that dramatic plot twist right at the end there. Wow, you just killed your father. Wow. But then Chelsea walks up and she gets caught up in everything, dies. And Rick, the madman who just went on a rapid killing spree, he gets shot too, dead. They die as a couple together. It's like, yeah, you said that you were gonna be together for the rest of your life, so yeah, happened just like that. I think it was a very fitting ending for both Rick and Chelsea. But that's Rick. Let me talk about Chelsea. In the scenes with Rick and Chelsea, Chelsea was giving all the energy and Rick was giving nothing. Chelsea was just having to pull it out of her. But she was clearly on her, oh, I can fix him quest. Like, girl, come on. Just give us somebody who you don't need to fix. But you know what I liked about Chelsea? She was there to enjoy her vacation, and she sure did. She was lounging at the pool every day. She was having a good time. She was watching the nonsense that was going on with that family, and she was just observing, and she was very entertained. Like, they would just bring the gossip to her at the pool. She befriended Chloe, and they had like a cute little dynamic. They were both in relationships where the guy was terrible. It worked for both of them. So it was interesting to see those two play off of each other. I think Chelsea's most interesting dynamic was with Saxon. So when they first met, she immediately just writes him off as a snob and a very insufferable guy. But they start to hit it off more and more as the episodes go on. I think Chelsea very much took sympathy on him, and she started to give him advice and help him grow. But she'd still like mock him and make fun of him. She was like the audience as his eye in the story, watching Saxon and the family drama, because she was always saying what we were thinking. But I'm gonna say something really crazy. Truthfully, by the end of the season, I thought that Chelsea and Saxon had a good chemistry, and I kind of wanted her to ditch Rick and run off Saxon. I mean, if she did that, she'd still be alive, so... Oh, I'd never wish Saxon on anybody, but I mean, I think he's an improvement on Rick, clearly. But if Chelsea wants to be captain, save a hoe, why don't you save somebody who is just a little less irredeemable than Rick? Like, and more age appropriate. That helps too. That's not a hill I'm gonna die on, but they had a chemistry, they did. Like, I can't deny it. I saw it, I can't unsee it. Then we see Rick return in the last episode. Chelsea is over the moon thrilled. And I'm like, girl, your man ditched you your whole vacation and you're happy when he's coming back on your last day. Stand up. They tried to play it like some romantic moment, but I just felt sad for the poor girl. Like, this man, he's just not worth it. He's never gonna get over his stuff. He was trying to act like he was better now after he left for a few days, but it's like, Chelsea, he never gives you anything. Never. Like, No energy, nothing. This is what you want for yourself. She's happy, so good for her. Rick literally got Chelsea bit by a snake. And she was still like, okay, aren't you just the best man ever? Stand up, Chelsea. Stand up. And she tried to act like they had some sort of soul connection. It's just like, girl, you're delusional. No soul connection is ever worth putting up with a man who just treats you like the gunk he scraped off his shoe. So her need to just constantly fix this guy ends up getting her killed when she storms in on him having a total temper tantrum. Hey, at least she died with her man. So I guess it's a happy ending for her after all. This was what was going to happen. Like, you were never going to save him. He was just going to drag you down with him. That's always how it was going to go. It's been kind of sad for me to see people online thinking that this Chelsea and Rick relationship is something to strive for, because it is so not. It is so toxic. And if you don't see that, don't date anybody right now. Do yourself a favor. Do some inner growth before. No man is worth putting in the effort to have to save them for you to be with them. If you can't take them as they are, don't take them at all. So while I was very sad to see Chelsea go, there is no way she should have gotten a happy ending this season if she chose to stay with Rick. Like, you signed your own death note. So we have the Ratliff family, and I think I will start with the head of the family, and that is Timothy Ratliff, who is definitely a shady businessman. He gets informed that once he is back on the radar, he will be going to jail. His scam has been caught. You'd love to see a shady businessman fail. But it's an interesting little wrinkle because they don't let you have electronics on this White Lotus resort. They want it to be tech-free. Of course, the first few days he insists and keeps his phone. But once he gets that news, he's finally like, okay, yeah, take the phone. Let me have a week. Now, the one taking his phone is Pam. And I just have to say, Pam was so funny. Her whole existence on this show was just being, oh yes, you're here. Oh, putting up with the Ratliffs, fake positivity. She was selling it. Like, Pam's actress, I better see her booked for several other roles. I want to see her in like a buddy comedy or something. But yeah, she gets him and finally takes his phone. Electronic free. And this is where Timothy starts to really spiral, and he's thinking, do I want to die? Do I want to kill my whole family? What are we going to do without wealth? Like, what life is there after this? I think this dragged on for too long. It was not entertaining at some points. Like, just do something. But the conclusion for it was very good. So in this last episode, he's finally like, okay, I am going to kill my whole family with these suicide fruits. So he grinds them up with the blender. He tries to get his whole family, besides one, to drink it. They start drinking it, but then he knocks the cup out from Saxon's hand. And it's like, no, coconut milk went bad. He just can't commit to anything. He finally decided that he couldn't go through with it, and he wanted the family to live. But he did not clean the blender, and his filthy son blends up a protein shake the next morning and poisons himself. Timothy is faced with the reality of, oh, I was doing all this stupid stuff. I finally decided I wanted everybody to live after almost killing everybody. And somebody's about to die. Oh, look, it's the consequences of my own actions. Somehow, nobody dies. And this storyline ends with him on the boat telling his family how everything's gonna change, but they're gonna get through it as a family. So overall, I think his storyline it just kind of got like a mess for a bit there. But the conclusion was good, and I think looking back in hindsight, Timothy's storyline was fine. The matriarch of the family was Victoria Radcliffe, and she was definitely the comedic relief of this season. She was just this southern lady, high on her lorazepam, having a time. She was just there to enjoy her vacation. I love a good meme. Every meme I got from this season, it was either from Pam or it was from Victoria. Oh my gosh, this woman, just the energy she exudes, it's fantastic. She gets all in a spiral because her daughter Piper wants to stay at Thailand. She doesn't even know what Thailand is. She's getting names all confused. Eventually, her daughter doesn't want to stay, and we realize how similar Piper is to Victoria. But that haunts Timothy more because he kind of wanted them to stay because it's like, just stay here so you don't got to come back and deal with the mess back home. Victoria just enjoys her spoiled rich life too much. And it ends on the reveal that, okay, they're all making it out alive and they're gonna go back and life's gonna be changed. We never get to see Victoria's reaction to that. It was very unsatisfying. I needed some sort of payoff to her realizing she's not gonna get to be the spoiled rich woman anymore. So while it was, I guess, satisfying for Timothy, I think the family storyline was the least satisfying for Victoria. Like, we didn't even get a face shot of her face cracking. Nothing. She never broke that character, which I guess is kind of iconic. We'll only ever see Victoria as the spoiled rich woman. But come on, like, I needed something. I guess in a sense, Victoria was the closest we had to sort of a Tanya type character, giving the comedic relief, but she's no Tanya. Like, come on. She was funny, but nobody can command the screen like Jennifer Coolidge. I loved Victoria though. She was such a delight in all of her scenes. So next was Piper, and Piper's the one who got her family to come to Thailand because she was very much inspired by the culture. She wanted to spend a year at the Buddhist monastery, getting absorbed in the culture. She stays a night there and realizes, no, I like all my comforts. She thought she was better than everybody, better than her family, all that. She is a spoiled rich girl at her core, and she is just like her mother. I knew this is where the storyline was heading. Like, please, don't act like you're better than everybody. But I thought it was played well. I know a few Pipers in my world. People who look at the world and feel guilty for being in a privileged state, but whenever they try to humble themselves and live a lesser life, they quickly realize that they cannot survive without their privilege. That trying to act like morally superior and being like, wow, I could be one with the people, ooh, it works my nerve. And that's kind of where I was at with Piper for a lot of the season. But I do like how the storyline played out. And it's okay that not everybody can live a life of struggle, a life without their comforts. Like, that's fine. You gotta be aware of it. Piper has her awareness now. She had her little diva moment of dragging everybody to Thailand to figure it out. But hey, she got there, and help out the best you can with your money, but don't try to act like you can hang with everybody. But I just can't say enough how much I loved the full circle moment of her like looking down on her family the whole season, only to realize in the end of the season that she's just like her mother. Like, classic. Moving on to the older brother, who is Saxon, and he definitely was quite the controversial figure on this season. Just like a very douchey rich bro, kind of like a womanizer. I spent most of the season really loathing him, but then in in episode 5 and 6 when the show took a disturbing turn, which I did not like at all. Saxon kind of becomes a victim, and we get to see him start really self-reflecting. I don't like where this self-reflection came from. I don't think that's something that needs to be put on TV, but the self-reflection was very interesting. To watch this man who thinks he's all that just totally spiral and realize how awful he is. Then in the end, we don't really get to see much of anybody's reaction to finding out that their life's about to be over in the Ratliff family. But we kind of get a reaction from Saxon, which I guess was kind of satisfying. Like, oh, what did you get me into, old man? I needed like one more minute with this family as they were scrolling their phones. Like, that's all I needed. That would have been perfectly satisfying, but whatever. So Saxon is a character I'll never like, but I thought he was a good character and an entertaining character. Definitely one of the standout roles of the season, as much as I hate to admit it. And then we've got Lachlan, who was the quieter sibling, but he was quiet because he was so nefarious. I don't really want to talk about Lachlan's storyline this season because it is so gross. So I'm just gonna like hop to the end of it. He drank a protein shake that he made in a dirty blender, and for that alone, I wanted him to actually die, ingest the poison and die. Because how? Why? Why would you not clean the blender? That's the thing I hate most about this character. He did not clean the blender. Like, it just is so disgusting to me. Oh, so gross. You did not clean this blender. Die. That's why you should die. For nothing else. This alone, I want you to die. Because how do people do that? How? How do you see something that's filthy and use it anyway? How? I was so disturbed. Oh, I really was rooting for his downfall simply because of that. But he, drinks his whole shake and he's like on the verge of death. Luckily for him, he vomits some of it up, and I think that's what saved his life. He miraculously lived, and I hope seeing God changes Lachlan for the better, because he's a menace. And oh my god, gross. It was not the most boring storyline of the season, but it was my least favorite of the season. Lachlan storyline. I guess I've saved the best for last, and that is the little friend trio. So Jacqueline brings her girls on this girls trip to Thailand. Jacqueline is a famous actress. She feels bigger and better than all of them because, like, yeah, she's rich, she's got money, she's pretty. Jacqueline very much buddies up with Kate. Fierce Bob, iconic. I know Kate. I understand Kate more than I understand any of these other characters. Kate is your southern church-going woman who smiles in your face and talks trash behind your back. I would love to have a glass of wine with her, but she's not somebody you want to be your closest friend because, oh, she's got a lethal tongue. So Jacqueline and Kate, they kind of like buddy up a lot. And that leaves the third girl in the trio, Leslie, out. So throughout the rest of this video, I am calling Lori Leslie. I think you can understand where that confusion came from. But yeah, let's just go with it, because the whole season while I was watching, I was referring to her as Carrie Coon. So I'm not good with names. I can acknowledge that. Lori is Leslie, unless I say Leslie Bibb's name. There we go. It's kind of like a polar opposite of Kate in some ways. She's more vocal. She's liberal. And hey, instead of the straight bob that Miss Kate has going on, Leslie has a bit of a curlier, longer bob. Oh, and Leslie's also a divorced single mom. So while the other girls kind of have their lives together, Leslie not so much. And that leads to the other girls really talking trash about Leslie's life. Kate, she kind of bounces back and forth between the girls, talking trash about each of them to the other. But then the bonding experience for Jacqueline and Leslie is when they get into politics and it's revealed Kate's true colors. And then we see that Jacqueline and Leslie pair off for like 2 episodes and they're just very anti-Kate. So it was kind of interesting to see Kate on the outside of it for a bit. But yeah, it was just the trio constantly pairing off into twos this whole season. It was very entertaining. The gossip, the drama, like, oh, so juicy. Once they were like done putting Kate through it, Jacqueline goes and hooks up. Jacqueline's married. She goes and hooks up with one of the hotel staff who also happens to be the robber. He was not a character to write home about, so I'm not giving him a section. Leslie had a crush on him the whole season, but Jacqueline went and hooked up with him. And of course, Kate found out and told Leslie, and drama, drama, drama. Leslie lashes out and it like kind of becomes a big thing. It's like, really, Leslie, you're bringing this stuff to the table. She exposed that Kate was talking to Jacqueline behind her back and drama. Oh, it was so juicy. Leslie goes and tries to hook up with him too, but it just doesn't go well. And Leslie has this whole realization on the last night. The three girls come together after our whole vacation of mess. And they're all like, yeah, it was a really nice vacation. We just had so much fun. I'm like, is it though? Is it? And Leslie, she finally just breaks down and has this fantastic monologue that kind of brings it all together, where it's like, even though we aren't always on the same page, she's just happy to be at the table. And everything just clicked with that monologue. As we saw these three girls fighting all season and just being at each other, but in this moment at this last dinner table, it all came together, and instead of viewing them like a bunch of girls who hate each other, you just saw how much love they had for each other despite everything. And even though things aren't always perfect, they're always there for each other. They were there on this trip together. Flaws and all, they got to see beautiful Thailand. It was very touching and it really resonated with me. I thought it was gorgeous, and these three girls got the happiest ending of everybody. They witnessed the shooting mess. None of them get shot though, and we see them on the boat. They probably brushed it under the rug like they did everything else, and they were having a good time on that boat leaving. Like, you just saw shooting, but okay, I mean, typical. But like, that's the ending those girls would have. But I was very much not expecting them to all leave as friends. Very glad to be wrong. I thought it was such a sweet ending for all of them. And I'm glad they're friends. I am. I did not think I would be saying that, but it all made sense. It really did. It made me want to reach out to a few people, honestly. Maybe I am too hard on people. Maybe just being there is enough. It's not always. Don't accept any mistreatment from anybody ever. Stand on stuff. But it's okay to just acknowledge that some people are where they are and you can still be cool with each other. Just be aware of who you're dealing with. Okay, so that is White Lotus season 3, the worst season of all of them, but it was still a good season. I'll probably watch season 4. I need to see the cast first, honestly. Like, I need to see the cast, I need to see the location. Let me see what I'm working with here. But I'll probably watch. Like, it's a fun show. I just, like, we gotta figure something out because Tanya is dearly missed. As far as characters I'd like to see return, I would love to see a Tanya prequel season. I would love to see Belinda come back and maybe we see her running a spa. I would like to see more of the Ratliffs. I would like to see them like struggling, suffering. Maybe they have to get jobs at a White Lotus to survive. If they want to do round 2 of the friend trio, I'd be down. There were a few people from the first 2 seasons who I'd be open to seeing return, but like I don't remember their names and I'm not gonna look it up right now, but there were some strong candidates. So I know there's been like talk of an all-star season. I'd do a few more seasons without, like 1 or 2 returns will suffice. As far as locations go, I know this season was almost a Japan season. I would love to see it. I've seen some people wanting a wintry season. I don't. I want a sunny tropical season. Thank you. This show airs in the winter, so I need a break and I need it to give me my summer fix. There's so many options, but I think the main thing is I don't want like a wintry, like lodge season, a pass. Hard pass for me. I want like a tropical season. You know what? Let me do some Emmy predictions. I would love to see Natasha Rothwell get an Emmy for her performance as Belinda. I think it would be very deserved. She'd probably be main actress, I think. I'd love to see Leslie Bibb and Carrie Coon get nominated for their roles here. The best chance at supporting actress for her finale monologue alone. Like, that's the clip they need to run for her. Parker Posey, maybe, but I'd put preference to Carrie Coon. I don't like Patrick Schwarzenegger, but I would not be shocked if he got a nomination. I'm sure Amy Lou Wood is in the conversation, but I wouldn't give her a win. If she's nominated, happy for her, but I don't think you're the winner. Like Carrie Coon, she beat you. I'm sorry. I don't see a nomination for any of the other actors here, so that's it. Until next time, bye.